Chapter 71, Hit Her Like You Hit Me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the small courtyard room, Ye Ming's eyes were bloodshot, fixed on the milky white light in front of him. Buzz, the light shrank rapidly, and the foreturn wind and moon Wu flew out. He raised his hand, and it landed directly on his foot, turning into a mark. Finally done, Ye Ming sighed, feeling the goo insects in his true energy, a smile spreading across his face. During this refining, aside from the black boar goo and 4-flavored liquor bug dying early on, and the shadow accompanying goo being injured, the other goo insects were refined smoothly. Now, in the first void, only the second-level shadow accompanying goo and the third-level Tianyuan Baoyan remain unrefined. All the others are at level 4. I'll need to wait a few days for the shadow accompanying goo to recover before continuing. As for the Tianyuan Baoyan, refining it to the 4th level requires a Yuan spring with abundant Yuan power. Yuan stones alone aren't enough. The Tianyuan Baoyan helped him a ton during his 3rd turn, but now that he's at level 4, the Yuan power it provides just isn't cutting it anymore. It's too useful to just give up. Ye Ming thought it might even be refined into the 6th level or higher immortal goo, the heavenly Yuan Emperor Lotus. Having abundant energy is key for a goo master. But Ye Ming isn't sure if Yuan springs even exist on Douluo Continent. He does have some ideas, like the Ice and Fire Eyes and the Lake of Life in Star Do Great Forest, which might work as energy sources. Time's an issue, and those places aren't exactly a walk in the park. Sunset Forest is doable, with just the crippled Tang Hao and the blue Silver Emperor sapling. Taking them out would be easy, but the timing's off. He wasn't sure if he could get the vast sea universe shield to recognize him. After all, he couldn't figure out the God Realm selection criteria. What if they just really liked Tang San? So, he needs to play nice with Tang San for now and get started on the Poseidon assessment. Improving Tang San's strength and resurrecting Xiao Wu could also work into Ye Ming's Soul Ring plan. Sunset Forest isn't far, though, and he risks getting exposed. Now's a critical time with the changes in Tiando Palace, and he doesn't want to complicate things. As for the Lake of Life, it's crazy dangerous, and it has a healing silver dragon king in it. That's a no-go for now. Boom! Ye Ming was still mapping out the plot when there was a knock on the door. He put away the goo insects and opened the door to find Ning Rongrong looking troubled. Ye Ming, could you help me out? Ning Rongrong asked. Xiao Ao is fighting someone, but he's just a food-type soul master. Even Teacher Yu Song might not be able to win. Can you help? Ye Ming thought, the plot starting. The 4 Elements Academy is here, so Tang San should be back too. After this, Tang San has to go to Gingxin City, and then the Tiando Palace plot kicks off, but Ye Ming's done waiting. Tang San's too wishy-washy. He needs a stronger push. Ye Ming nodded. The college has been good to me. It's the least I can do. I've gained some insights in my retreat. It's a good time to test them out. You realized something else? Ning Rongrong was surprised. Is it really that easy to have breakthroughs? She rolled her eyes and said, the 4 Elements Academy is here to stir up trouble. Please teach them a lesson. Especially that Huo Wu. Give her the same punch you gave me. Ning Rongrong said, waving her fist. Knock her boobs into next week. Ye Ming nodded, and they rushed to the playground. They arrived to find nearly all the students from Shrek Academy gathered around. A sea of faces. Ye Ming pushed his way through. Oof. Hey. Watch it. People fell as Ye Ming plowed into the inner circle. Ning Rongrong was stunned and followed in his wake. The students who got knocked over were speechless when they saw it was Ye Ming. They remembered the guy who beat down the 2 deans at the entrance. Walking into the center, Ye Ming saw Oscar holding his chest. Facing him was a beautiful woman with fiery red hair, also holding her chest. I didn't expect you, a food-type soul master, to last this long, Huo Wu said, puffing out her chest. Let's call it a draw. Next person up. Oscar sighed. He could hold his own against ordinary soul kings with the mirror sausage and soul bones, but he fell short against top talents like Huo Wu. Just as he was about to speak, Ye Ming strode up. A smile appeared on Oscar's face, and he winked. Huo Wu frowned. Looking at the young face in front of her, she guessed he was maybe 18 or 19. She said with contempt, "Who are you? Where are the Shrek 7 devils? I don't mind waiting if nobody's around. He's a new member of our Shrek team." Oscar jumped down. "If you can beat him, we can talk about your conditions." Ye Ming nodded. "The main guys are tired. I'm the substitute. And..." He pointed at Feng Xiaotian, Shui Binger, Shui Yuer, Yu Tianxin, and Huo Wushuang, and said, "No need to make things complicated. Come at me, all of you." The whole place erupted. The students at Shrek Academy cheered wildly for Ye Ming. Arrogant. Feng Xiaotian and the others frowned. Shui Binger and Shui Yuer looked displeased. "They're all geniuses, and they wouldn't stand for this." Huo Wu raised her eyebrows, and her 5 soul rings, yellow, yellow, purple, purple, and black, glowed. "Huo Wu, level 54 control system War Soul King, let's go." Huo Wu raised her head proudly. The next moment, her expression changed. A bronze fist flew at her. Third soul skill, resist the ring of fire. Flames erupted from her body, trying to push Ye Ming away. It was useless. Ye Ming was a rock. The flames couldn't even make him budge. Boom! The fist hit Huo Wu's chest, crushing her boobs. She flew backward, spitting blood, and landed at Feng Xiaotian's feet. Everyone in the 4 Elements Academy was speechless. Ning Rongrong clapped excitedly, the Shrek students cheered again, the sound echoing through the academy. At the entrance, Tang San led Xiao Wu, who had regained her human form after eating crystal blood dragon ginseng, up the steps. Behind him were Ma Hongjun and the anxious leaders of the 4 single-attribute clans. Hearing the cheers, Tang San frowned. "What's going on at the academy? Clan leaders, let's hurry." Chapter 72 Despicable. Shameless. You can't afford to play sneak attack. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Despicable. Shameless. You can't afford to fight fair, so you pull a sneak attack. Feng Xiaotian rushed to help Huo Wu up, while a healing-type student hurried over to use their spirit power to treat her. He glared, pointing at Ye Ming and spitting out curses. Huo Wushuang was even angrier, yelling, "Is this how Shrek teaches? He doesn't even care about a spirit master's honor. We're supposed to exchange names before a match." Ye Ming seemed oblivious to the insults. He glanced into the distance, spotting figures appearing at the edge of the trees. He smiled slightly. "Didn't I tell you guys to come at me all at once? Ha ha ha, you had the gall to leave a woman up on stage, and now you're blaming me." Honor, morality, rules, he didn't care about any of that. Benefits. Goals. That's why he acted. Feng Xiaotian's expression darkened, while Huo Wushuang and the others continued to berate Ye Ming as shameless. With a shout, 6 spirit rings flared around Feng Xiaotian as he transformed into his wind demon wolf spirit and shot into the sky. At the same time, Huo Wushuang, Yu Tianxin, Shui Binger, and Shui Yue released their spirits and charged toward Ye Ming in the arena. "Punk, you're too arrogant. I'll teach you a lesson your teachers should have." Huo Wushuang roared, his 5th spirit ring glowing black, flames erupting around him as his hands transformed into fire Tyrannosaurus claws, tearing towards Ye Ming. Above, Feng Xiaotian locked onto Ye Ming, channeling power for his 36 wind strikes. Shui Binger and Shui Yue fixed their gazes on Ye Ming, their spirit abilities ready to unleash. "Just what I wanted." Ye Ming stepped forward, a crack forming on the arena floor. He charged toward Huo Wushuang like a cannonball. The phantom of the tyrant bear's beastly power materialized behind him, and he punched skyward. The phantom bear roared and hurtled towards Feng Xiaotian. The power of the level 4 goo insect tyrant bear power goo, amplified by the all-out goo, was more than enough to stop Feng Xiaotian, even though he was a soul emperor. Roar! The phantom beast roared, its iron fist hurtling through the air, knocking Feng Xiaotian out of the sky. In the same instant, Ye Ming collided with Huo Wushuang. Dragon claws met iron fist with a sickening crack. Huo Wushuang's right arm fractured instantly, and he cried out in agony. Ye Ming raised his leg and kicked him in the side. Phantoms of black and white boars, created by the boar goo, appeared. With a resounding thud, Huo Wushuang's ribs snapped, and he flew out of the ring. Shui Binger and Shui Yue were stunned. As they were about to unleash their spirit abilities, Ye Ming suddenly spun around, his figure appearing before them like a ghost, moving as fast as the flying goo. Boom! Using the power of the two boars, he unleashed a punch, nearly crushing their chests. With a gasp, the two women simultaneously looked up, spitting blood as they were sent flying, landing hard outside the arena. Yu Tianxin was completely numb. From the moment his opponent threw the first punch to Shui Binger and Shui Yue being blasted away, less than 2 breaths had passed, and all 4 of his teammates were defeated. He hadn't even seen his opponent's movements clearly, let alone figured out what spirit they were using. 4th spirit ability, Blue Lightning Dragon Frenzy. Yu Tianxin roared, and the miniature blue dragon shot out, rushing at Ye Ming with teeth and claws. The Jianbu Rufei Gu activated again. With a single step, Ye Ming was in front of Yu Tianxin. He threw a punch, and without surprise, Yu Tianxin followed the others, vomiting blood as he flew backwards. Hiss! A collective gasp went through the crowd. The arena was silent for a few seconds. Then, the sound exploded into cheers. Holy crap! That was fierce. He's a beast. He's awesome. In the crowd, Tang San swallowed hard, quietly abandoning the idea of questioning Ye Ming about his spirit bone. Behind him, the Shrek 7 devils were equally shocked. They'd thought Tang San was already a monster, but now they were seeing someone a few years younger, who hadn't even released his spirit, relying only on his physical strength and his spirit abilities to defeat 4 powerful Soul Kings and a Soul Emperor. The whole thing had taken less than 3 breaths. Third brother, who is this guy? He's terrifying. Ma Hongjun stammered. Tang San was filled with emotion. He's my cousin, and the leader of the Clear Sky School, appointed by my uncle, Tang Yeming. Seeing Ye Ming show his power in the arena, Tang San was a little dazed. The last time they met was just a few days ago, and his cousin had gone from barely being able to defeat a Soul King to inventing his own spirit abilities to instantly kill a group of Soul Saints. Now, it had been a little over 10 days, and he was even stronger. This made him feel a sense of urgency. Make friends. They had to befriend Tang Yeming. The current situation was turbulent. Whether it was fighting the Spirit Hall in the future or carrying forward the glory of the Tang sect, a genius like this was someone they needed on their side. The cheering belonged to everyone else. Feng Xiaotian and the others felt the noise was a distraction. After students from the 4 Elements Academy helped them up, they left in silence, with the Shrek students jeering them out. Before leaving, Huo Wu, Shui Binger, and Shui Yue all rubbed their chests and glared at Ye Ming resentfully. Ye Ming stood in the ring, his expression calm. He actually had a lot of energy left. Otherwise, with the strength of the level 4 Tyrant Bear, a single punch would have pierced them through. The 3 girls bit their lips, resentment on their faces, and left without looking back. Ye Ming looked around and saw Tang San leading Xiao Wu through the crowd, with Ma Hongjun and the others behind him. His eyes lingered on Xiao Wu, and he felt a surge of emotion. Xiao Wu was resurrected so quickly, but seeing the emptiness in Xiao Wu's eyes and Yang Wudi and the others behind him, he remembered that Xiao Wu had only just eaten the crystal blood dragon ginseng to restore her body. It was just a semi-finished product. Ye Ming looked at Tang San. Their eyes met, and his expression changed, showing sadness, grief, and finally, a long sigh. Tang San seemed to sense the sadness radiating from Ye Ming, pointed behind him, and then led Yang Wudi and the other 3 away quietly. Ye Ming stepped off the stage, ignoring the cheers of the surrounding students, and whispered to Ning Rongrong and Oscar, "Third brother is back." The 2 were instantly excited and hurriedly squeezed through the crowd to follow Ye Ming to the small courtyard by the lake behind. After a moment, they met. Ning Rongrong saw Xiao Wu next to Tang San at a glance and ran over to hold her hand. "Xiao Wu. You're back." Xiao Wu hid behind Tang San instinctively, which made Ning Rongrong's heart sink. Tang San explained, "Xiao Wu isn't truly resurrected yet." Oscar patted Tang San's shoulder. "This is still good news. We can definitely bring Xiao Wu back." Tang San nodded heavily and then looked at Ye Ming. "Sect leader. Oscar glanced at Ma Hongjun, pulled Ning Rongrong, and the three left quietly. Soon, only Ye Ming and Tang San remained. Third brother, you should just call me Ye Ming. Ye Ming waved his hand, a little dejectedly, sitting on a chair in the pavilion, exuding a sense of loneliness. I wish I wasn't the master of the Clear Sky School. If I could, I'd trade my life to bring them back. Ye Ming's eyes were red, and everyone felt sad. Senior Chen Xian must have told you everything. Ye Ming stood up, his dejected look gone. Gritting his teeth, he said, no matter what, I will avenge them. He looked at Tang San, his eyes burning. Third brother, are you still a disciple of the Clear Sky School? Will you help me? Chapter 73 Tang Yeming is a very good person. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Seeing the fire in Ye Ming's eyes, Tang San felt a wave of emotion. He remembered his early days at Haotian sect when everyone else mocked him, but Ye Ming stood by him, offering help and advice. He recalled the disciple competition, their tearful farewell on the mountain top. He remembered the great star forest, Ye Ming appearing like a savior, blasting away the killer-faced demon spider, pushing himself to the limit, and unleashing his soul skills to decimate those soul saints to save him and Xiao Wu. And when Haotian sect fell, Ye Ming was the first person Tang San thought of. Despite never leaving the sect before, this disciple braved the unknown to find him. Having lived 2 lives, Tang San possessed a mature soul within his young body. Looking into Ye Ming's clear eyes, he remembered what he told himself before. Ye Ming is a good man. He couldn't help but chuckle inwardly. Xiao Wu was his world. When she was in danger, he felt like he was losing his mind, but what about Ye Ming? Over 400 lives in the Haotian sect, wiped out in a single day, burdened by such grief, his only desire was revenge. Could Tang San refuse him? He also had Xiao Wu, his parents, the Shrek 6 monsters, and his teacher, but among everyone Ye Ming knew, Tang San was his only blood relative. He hadn't even met his own father. If Tang San didn't help, who would? Tang San yearned to resurrect Xiao Wu and restore the Tang clan's glory, but he couldn't turn his back on his brother's expectations. Seeing Tang San hesitate, a flicker of anxiety crossed Ye Ming's face. Third brother, I should pass the sect leader position to you. You're the sect leader's nephew, it belongs to you. Don't get involved in this. It'll only lead to trouble. No way. I'm getting revenge myself. Determination hardened Ye Ming's features as he stood tall, addressing everyone. I'm leaving. Even if it costs me everything. I'll make those killers pay. Before Tang San could respond, he darted forward, blocking Ye Ming's path. You idiot, what are you babbling about? You think you can shoulder the Haotian sect's blood feud alone? Senior, who are you? Ye Ming asked, confused. Ha! You could say I'm your great-uncle, he said, raising an eyebrow. I led the tribe when we left Haotian sect. You were just a kid back then. Now that something like this has happened, there's no way I'm letting you go it alone. Ye Ming's eyes widened as he looked at He, great-uncle. Before Ye Ming could speak, he turned to Tang San. Xiao San, I don't care what you do, but the Min clan is behind Ye Ming 100% on this revenge. Tang San sighed, Uncle, how can you say that? Tang Xiao is my uncle. How could I ever forget this grudge? And besides, brother Ye Ming saved Xiao Wu and me. I, Tang San, will never forget that. Tang San looked at Ye Ming with all seriousness. Brother Ye Ming, if your uncle passed the sect leader position to you, then you are the Haotian sect leader. Haotian sect's Tang San greets the sect leader. Tang San began to kneel. Ye Ming's left arm twitched slightly, but he ignored the pain, rushing to pull Tang San up. Third brother, what are you doing? We're all that's left of the sect, why stand on ceremony? We're brothers. Let's work together to get stronger. Resurrect Xiao Wu and avenge our clan. Tang San nodded firmly. He now knew it was a bear king and a tree spirit that slaughtered the Haotian clan members, not Great Ming and Second Ming. Those vicious spirit beasts deserved to pay. His eyes shone with relief. He glanced at Yang Wudi, who looked troubled, and sighed softly. Old goat, the dead dies with the dead. What are you still agonizing over? Yang Wudi snorted. I'm part of the Tang sect now. I'll do whatever the sect leader tells me to. Tai Tan and Niu Gao exchanged knowing smiles. After everyone had a chance to speak, Ye Ming asked Tang San, third brother, what's your plan moving forward? Tang San answered, the spirit hall is on high alert. I'm going to build the Tang sect, ramp up development of hidden weapons and mechanical contraptions I discovered, and arm low-level soul masters. Ye Ming shook his head. I'm not trying to discourage you, but I think you shouldn't focus too much on that. This is a world where one person can change everything. 3 strong spirit beasts could obliterate all the low-level soul masters in the Haotian sect in the blink of an eye. If you had that kind of power, wouldn't that be enough to change our fate? Plus, if you want to resurrect Xiao Wu, you should focus on improving your own cultivation. I've told you before, time is of the essence. Working on your cultivation is the foundation. A few of the clan leaders can develop these weapons. We should be seeking opportunities to get stronger. The clan leaders' eyes lit up, and they nodded in agreement with Ye Ming. Tang San considered this and nodded. What you're saying makes sense. But it's harder to improve your soul power level as you go up. Do you have any ideas? I read about a place in the sect's texts where danger and opportunity walk hand in hand. If we go there, our strength will definitely increase quickly. Ye Ming said, looking at Tang San. It's called Sea God Island. Sea God Island? Tang San frowned, looking at the clan leaders, who looked just as confused. Ye Ming explained, according to the records, when the sea god conquered the sea, he reached godhood through the power of faith. He left behind his inheritance and the opportunity to become a god on Sea God Island. The star forest was as dangerous as ever. Bai Ningbing and the humanoid Xiong Jun sat on either side of the tree house. In the middle of them sat a soul beast that looked like a silkworm. This soul beast had a round, fleshy head. It was over a meter in diameter and over 7 meters long. Its body was white jade, crystal clear, with a halo under the skin and a pair of golden eyes on its head. Starting half a meter from its head, golden patterns marked every few inches of its body. There were 9.5 golden patterns in total. The silkworm was held in a specially made black steel cage. The cage occasionally emitted bursts of electricity to stimulate the silkworm. Rich strands of energy escaped from its body, which Xiong Jun and Bai Ningbing absorbed. Hey, we're all soul beasts. You've been leeching off me for so long, let me out. The silkworm drooped its head and weakly begged the two outside the cage. Xiong Jun narrowed his eyes, flicked his fingers, and soul power struck the cage, making it discharge again. Let you out. Xiong Jun scoffed. Dream on. Little Jean and I, if you want to see the human world, you'll absorb more energy to improve your cultivation. Determination flashed in the silver-haired girl's eyes. She stopped looking at the silkworm's pleading eyes and concentrated on absorbing the energy. Chapter 74. I know you are anxious, but don't be anxious yet. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. After hearing Ye Ming's story, Tang San's eyes lit up. The word Poseidon made his heart skip a beat, drawn in by an irresistible force, becoming a god. The idea was intoxicating. His previous life's most powerful elder only scratched the surface of true power. Now, he had a shot at something legendary. In that moment, Tang San realized he wanted more than just Tang Sec's revival. He secretly vowed that after settling Tang Sec's business, he'd set course for Poseidon Island. Seeing his seed planted, Ye Ming left Tang San and the clan leaders to their discussion, and headed back to his place. Night fell, bathing the world in starlight and moonlight. Under the celestial glow, he strolled towards his small courtyard, revealing the reincarnation watch on his wrist. When Tang San admitted to being the Haotian sect leader, the watch delivered a message. 1. Become an inner disciple of the Haotian sect. Reward, ordinary talent, random, and 20 yuan stones. Completed. 2. Reach Soul King cultivation. Reward, rare talent, random, and 100 yuan stones. Completed. 3. Become the leader of the Haotian sect, reward, epic talent, random, and 2,000 primeval stones. Completed. 4. Reach Title Douluo, reward, legendary talent, random, and 10,000 yuan stones. 5. Become a god, reward, mythical talent, random, and 100,000 yuan stones. Note, rewards are tiered. Basic missions are complete. Settle the mission and leave the current world. Seeing the third task marked complete, Ye Ming felt a surge of satisfaction. He'd only been in Douluo Continent for 2 months, yet his talent was already guaranteed at the epic level. Only 2 tasks remained, becoming a Title Douluo and ascending to godhood. Even with the increasing difficulty of boosting his soul power, he still had over 4 years. It was doable. Ye Ming rubbed his chin, thinking, if I become a god, maybe I can check out the god realm for a bit, that this was just the first reincarnation trial. He had to seize every chance to improve his cultivation. Once this trial was over and college entrance exams were done, he'd be thrown into an even tougher arena. Despite his progress, he wasn't about to get cocky. Humanity had held out for 30 years against alien invasions. That spoke volumes. The Douluo Continent realm wasn't exactly a powerhouse compared to other reincarnation realms, and its soul power system wasn't top tier. The real monsters were those who'd survived high-level martial arts realms, carrying their cultivation systems with them. Cultivators, martial artists, gene-lock users, magic martial arts hybrids, dragon riders, unscientific beast tamers, none of them were pushovers. The main world was where the real action was. Far from being discouraged, Ye Ming was eager for the challenge. Now, he had the skills to play the game, the pursuit of power. That was the only true driving force. Everyone had a shot at the top. It all came down to seizing opportunities and outplaying the competition. No one was born to be a side character, and no one stayed the hero forever. Survival of the fittest. That's why history was so damn exciting. The world was so full of possibilities. With that, Ye Ming felt a sense of release. Doubts, bitterness, joy, and sorrow all faded away. His mind was clear, and the drive to grow made his eyes shine. Eternal life was important, but the journey there was the real thrill. His heart was pure, untainted, and as bright as the stars above. A sudden realization struck Ye Ming, a feeling he couldn't quite grasp, but it lingered, finally shaping into a whispered, "The stars are incredible tonight." That he picked up his pace, heading back to his courtyard. Tang San's back. If Dugu Bo shows up tomorrow, I'll drag Tang San to the palace to jumpstart the plot. That he didn't want to waste any time letting Tang San mess around with Tang's sect or work on hidden weapons. He was just a tool to him. There might be a big fight tomorrow. I need to fully integrate the Flying Elephant Power Goo and Diamond Tendon Goo ASAP. My Goo Master cultivation can't lag behind. Focusing, Ye Ming started to activate the Flying Elephant Power Goo and Diamond Tendon Goo, reshaping his body while simultaneously churning the true energy in his body. The Copper Skin, Iron Bone Goo and Diamond Tendon Goo were both Goo insects that enhanced a Goo Master's physical abilities. Increased physical strength allows for greater power. Just like a Soul Master absorbing a Soul Ring. The stronger the body, the higher your Soul Ring you can absorb, but this transformation was going to hurt like hell. The pain of bones and muscles shifting went straight to the core. Even Ye Ming broke out in a cold sweat, gritting his teeth and bracing himself. Even in the face of that pain, his body only trembled slightly and he didn't moan. Even in this state, his multitasking state has never been broken. The night passed in silence. The next morning, Ye Ming acted as if nothing had happened and went to find Tang San. He walked in to find Tang San talking to Oscar and Ning Rongrong, with Yang Wudi. Listening intently. Ye Ming, come in. Tang San gave Yang Wudi an apologetic nod, stood up, and turned to Ye Ming. I agree with your idea about Sea God Island, but now's the time for Tang's sect to grow. Thinking Ye Ming was there to rush him, Tang San explained, I need to go over this with the clan leaders. Don't sweat it, San. Ye Ming waved a hand. I get it. I'm not here to pressure you. Ye Ming started to speak, then suddenly turned his head toward the door. A slender old man, straight as an arrow and dressed in a dark green robe, burst into the room. His eyes were like emeralds, like those of a snake. Ye Ming knew instantly. Poison Douluo, Dugubo. Spotting Tang San, Dugubo's face lit up and he blurted, "Kid, you're back. Come with me. Something bad's about to happen." Dugubo rushed forward and grabbed Tang San's hand, startling Xiao Wu, who grabbed Tang San's arm and hid behind him. Dugubo saw Xiao Wu momentarily, but his own situation was too urgent. Go, you've been gone for days. If we wait any longer, it'll be a disaster. I'm counting on you. Xiao Wu's fear made Tang San frown. He nodded to Ye Ming and the others, then turned to Dugubo, scowling. "Old monster, I know you're in a panic, but calm down. A moment won't make a difference." Did Emperor Shuiye's poison flare up again? Chapter 75 Prince Shui Qinghe. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hearing Tang San, Dugubo was taken aback. "What's the rush?" He nodded, his face grave. "I'm afraid we're in serious trouble. Emperor Shuiye is dying." "What?" Tang San exclaimed. Oscar and Ning Rongrong were equally shocked. If Emperor Shuiye, the ruler of the Heaven Dou Empire, were to die, it would throw the entire continent into chaos. The Heaven Dou Empire would descend into a power struggle, and the Spirit Hall would definitely capitalize on the opportunity. Even the Star Luo Empire, which had just forged a secret alliance with the Heaven Dou Empire, might have ulterior motives. Tang San needed the Heaven Dou Empire as a strong ally in his fight against the Spirit Hall and to avenge Xiao Wu. Though alarmed, he quickly regained his composure. "Old freak, what happened? Didn't you say you had the poison in Emperor Shuiye under control last time?" Dugubo gave a bitter smile. "I did, at the time. But he was poisoned again a month ago, and this time it's even worse. I examined his blood carefully and found the toxins are constantly mutating. I've been using the Azure Serpent King to fight the poison, but I can only use it 7 times to suppress the toxins in the Emperor's body. After the 7th time, the poison will erupt again, and he's a goner. I've already used it 6 times." Ye Ming, who had been sitting quietly, suddenly stood up, his voice confident. "From what you're saying, it's not just a mixed poison, but a complex, multi-layered one. Those are the most dangerous, with all sorts of unpredictable changes. To detoxify, you have to identify the source and tailor the cure. Usually, only the person who administered the poison can cure a complex poison like that." Tang San's eyes lit up, staring at Ye Ming like he'd found a kindred spirit. "You know about poison too?" "I know a thing or two," Ye Ming replied calmly. Dugubo's eyes brightened. "Kid, come with me to the Heaven Dou Imperial Palace. If we can't do anything, the empire is going to fall apart." Even though Ye Ming had demonstrated some knowledge of poisons, Dugubo still considered Tang San their best hope. Time was of the essence. He needed to get Tang San to the palace as quickly as possible. Tang San nodded. "My cousin, Tang Yeming, is right. To solve a complex poison, you have to trace it back to the source. And the more experts we have, the better," he said decisively. "Patriarch Yang, Yeming, you're coming with me too." Yang Wudi and Yeming both nodded. "He knows poison too?" Dugubo asked, surprised. Looking at Yang Wudi, he traveled the continent for years and rarely encountered spirit masters who specialized in poison. Why were they popping up everywhere now? "Let's go. I'll explain on the way." Tang San urged, then frowned, turning to Oscar and Ning Rongrong. "Xiao Rongrong, go find Fatty and wait for us at the academy. I have a bad feeling about this." Oscar knew the situation was dire and nodded seriously. "Third brother, Grandpa Jian and the others should be in the palace. If things get hairy, find them." Ning Rongrong said quickly. Tang San nodded and handed the dazed Xiao Wu to Ning Rongrong. "Rongrong, take care of Xiao Wu for me." "I'll be back soon." Ning Rongrong nodded. "Don't worry, San. I'll watch over her." Tang San nodded again, then led Ye Ming and Yang Wudi, following Dugubo as they rushed toward the Heaven Dou Palace. Leaving Shrek, they hurried towards the Imperial Palace. On the way, they encountered a troop of about 100 cavalrymen galloping through the streets. they were moving fast, their horsemanship was superb, and they radiated a faint, murderous aura. Tang San's unease grew. "Kid, let's pick up the pace," Douluo urged, feeling a similar sense of foreboding. The four of them sped up. Douluo had initially underestimated Yang Wudi, but when he described Emperor Shuiye's symptoms, Yang Wudi asked several insightful questions, causing Douluo to see him in a new light. Ye Ming was also surprisingly engaged, as if he was the most concerned about Emperor Shuiye's well-being of them all. Douluo was touched and felt more optimistic about saving the emperor. Soon, the four arrived at the Heaven Do Imperial Palace, with Douluo leading the way. They weren't stopped. As a guest of the Heaven Do Empire, Douluo wielded significant authority. He led Tang San and the others to Emperor Shuiye's chambers, where they were finally halted. Soldiers in full armor, holding spears, blocked their path. Seeing this, Douluo pulled out his guest elder gold badge and said coldly, "Out of the way. We have urgent business with His Majesty," that the soldier in command said icily. "His Majesty is resting. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince has ordered that no one is allowed to disturb him. Disobey and be killed." Before the soldier could finish, a fist with a faint copper glow smashed into him. Bang! With a deafening crash, the soldier and his silver helmet were sent flying. Ye Ming retracted his fist and said casually, "These soldiers don't even recognize the badge of a Title Douluo. Something's definitely wrong. Let's go, quickly." Without waiting for a response, he charged into the soldiers like a tiger among sheep, the phantom of a tyrant bear flickering behind him as he plowed through their ranks. Douluo and the others were stunned. "Kid, what are you doing? That's your cousin. This is treason, without permission." Yang Wudi looked at Tang San, unsure of what to do. Being branded as traitors could bring ruin to the entire Pi clan. "That kid is so reckless." Tang San hesitated, then summoned the blue-silver emperor vines to his right hand, activated ghost shadow steps, and dashed towards the 50 royal guards. "Old freak. It's come to this. We have to get through and treat His Majesty." Douluo immediately nodded and charged forward. But the next moment, all three froze. The 50 guards who had been guarding the chamber door were all lying on the ground, dead. A closer look revealed heads missing or chests crushed. It was a gruesome sight. Yang Wudi couldn't help but gasp. Those were 50 Soul King-level guards. Even for him, a Soul Douluo, taking them down so quickly would be a challenge. And he hadn't even used the Clear Sky Hammer spirit inherited from the Clear Sky sect. Douluo gaped and stammered, "Little monster, is your cousin some kind of human-shaped beast?" Tang San didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The beast spirit behind Ye Ming faded away as he waved to the others. "What are you waiting for? Let's go." Just then, a calm and pleasant voice spoke up. "Brother Tang Yin, breaking into the palace late at night and killing the guards is an act of treason. And you, Douluo, leading people to barge into your father's chambers. Are you trying to rebel? Crown Prince Qinghe." Tang San looked at the handsome and seemingly sincere Qinghe walking out, and a chill ran down his spine. When he saw the two old men following Qinghe, his eyes turned blood red. "Spirit Hall, Thorny Pig, Snake Spear, it's you." Tang San would never forget. Those were the two who had stood in his way and forced Xiao Wu to sacrifice. Ye Ming would never forget that day. Those were the two who had forced Xiao Wu to sacrifice and made his plan fail. Qinghe opened his mouth to say something, but suddenly, a burst of light filled the area. Goo Worm 4th Transformation, Moonbreaker Goo. Goo Worm 4th Transformation, Thunderwing Goo. Goo Worm 4th Transformation, Wind Moon Will Goo. Goo Worm 4th Transformation, Treasure Moon Colorful Clothes Goo. Killing Move, Thunder Moon Storm. Chapter 76, Fighting Title Douluo. One more chapter, please subscribe first. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Heads up. Ye Ming shot forward like a meteor, instantly closing the distance to his three opponents. A barrage of thousands of 10-foot-long, lightning-infused moon blades erupted, blanketing the entire square. Only Tang San and his group had any space around them at all. Seeing this, Tang San, having witnessed this deadly move before, reacted immediately. "Old man, get back!" He yelled, pulling Yang Wudi with him and quickly retreating through the gaps. Douluo scoffed inwardly, thinking his Title Douluo strength made him invincible. Ouch! Just then, a 10-foot-long moon blade slashed across his right arm, shattering his soul power defense and creating a huge, sparking gash that left him shaking. He quickly retreated, barely escaping the storm of blades. What's with this kid? How can he be so powerful? Douluo was shaken, looking at the scene with lingering fear. It's a soul skill he created himself, Tang San said, equally surprised. Last time, he killed over 10 soul sages with it. Back then, the moon blades were only palm-sized, and nowhere near as numerous as they are now. Yang Wudi and Douluo were stunned, finding it hard to believe. The Boar Douluo and Snake Spear Douluo were caught off guard. They'd seen their young master making a grand entrance, and they figured there'd be some pre-fight banter. Instead, blue lightning flashed, and they were instantly engulfed by a storm of moon blades. They were each hit by several blades, spraying blood everywhere. Shocked, they unleashed their Title Douluo strength, and 9 brilliant soul rings appeared around them. Young master, watch out! Snake Spear shouted, instantly appearing in front of Qinghe. He wielded a 2-foot-long, snake tongue-shaped spear, creating layers of phantoms in the air as he blocked the incoming moon blades. But the sheer volume of the moon blades was overwhelming. And their power was immense. Snake Spear couldn't possibly deflect them all. Ha! Boar Douluo roared, swelling up like a balloon. Purple spikes erupted all over his body, even his hands turned into spikes. He looked utterly savage. His 5th soul ring flared, and his body shrunk and expanded again. Nearly 100 poisonous stingers shot out, directly targeting Ye Ming as he weaved through the storm. Clang, 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 the stingers struck the moon blades, shattering on impact. However, there were too many blades. The stingers never reached Ye Ming and were destroyed. Don't worry about me. Behind them, a hint of coldness crossed Qinghe's normally refined face. Attack the source. Take out that kid. He's the core of this move. If you don't stop him, these blades won't stop until his soul power is depleted. Qinghe's eyes narrowed, instantly recognizing that Ye Ming himself was the key. The individual moon blades were powerful enough to break through a Title Douluo's defenses, posing a significant threat, but he made his decision. This soul skill was devastating, but it tied up his teammates. If they could seize the moment, they could break the attack and regain control. He'd been planning for this day for a long time, even moving 3,000 soul masters from Spirit Hall into Tiando City. If they could eliminate these people and kill Emperor Shuya, the game was as good as won. The Boar Douluo and Snake Spear Douluo were decisive. They exchanged a look and charged toward the lightning swirling on the field. With the 2 Title Douluos out of the way, hundreds of moon blades rained down, slicing through the air. Qinghe showed no fear. A bright golden light erupted from him, starting at his forehead and engulfing his entire body. Soul rings appeared around him, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 1 black. 7 rings pulsed with power. His hair turned golden, each strand shining, and his clothes tore open to reveal white skin. 2 pairs of white wings unfurled from his back, lifting him a foot above the ground. His eyes turned golden, and a huge, indistinct shadow appeared behind him. The only difference between Qinghe and the golden shadow was the number of wings, 2 pairs compared to 3. The wings shielded him, blocking all the incoming moon blades. Outside the storm, Douluo stared in disbelief. That's not the royal swan spirit. What is that martial soul? Tang San said grimly. That's the angelic martial soul, a god-level soul inherited from the Spirit Hall popes. Qinghe is probably dead. The current prince must be someone from Spirit Hall in disguise. Douluo's green eyes narrowed, and he was shocked. Just then, Yang Wudi raised his soul-breaking spear, his aura intensifying. He frowned. Xiao San, should we jump in? Tang San watched the situation, reaching for his 24 bridges on his waist. A flare shot into the sky with a piercing whistle and exploded, scattering red light. It was his signal flare, the very one that had saved the 7 treasure-glazed sect from complete destruction. With that done, the blue-silver emperor vines emerged from Tang San's left hand. He said coldly, going in now would disrupt Ye Ming's rhythm. Let's wait until he finishes the skill, then we'll charge in. Old man, you and clan leader Yang go help my sworn brother. I'll deal with this fake Shui Qinghe. Douluo and Yang Wudi nodded, their soul rings glowing. They fixed their eyes on the storm of moon blades, carefully watching everyone inside. Back in the storm, the boar Douluo and snake spear Douluo were terrified. Even with their Title Douluo strength, they couldn't keep up with the flashing lightning. Old Shi, double team him. Boar Douluo's spikes shot out again, blocking Ye Ming's retreat. Snake spear thrust his spear straight at Ye Ming's chest. The two Title Douluos had him cornered. In the past, Ye Ming's greatest weakness when using this technique was his vulnerability. He couldn't activate other goo worms for defense and had to rely on the speed of the Thunderwing goo to escape, but now, his Baoyue goo had merged with the Nikhang goo to create a fourth-turn defensive goo worm, the Baoyue Nikhang goo. When the Thunder Moon Storm was activated, his entire body would be protected by the Baoyue Nikhang. Seeing the spear thrust at him, Ye Ming didn't dodge. Instead, he charged straight at it. Snake spear Douluo grinned and put even more power into his attack. Crack! The spear pierced Ye Ming's chest with a cracking sound, breaking through several colorful ribbons, but failing to penetrate his skin. His eyes widened, and he tried to pull back, but he found the spear locked in a bronze grip. Snake spear stared into Ye Ming's deep, bottomless eyes. Chapter 77: A punch that combines the power of four beasts. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The calmness in his eyes was unsettling, so much so that Snake Spear Douluo felt a prickle of fear. Even now, he couldn't make out any details about the kid. What was his deal? Was it those dark blue wings crackling with lightning? But where were his soul rings? How could he use a soul skill that strong, enough to shatter a Title Douluo's soul power defense, without even having a single soul ring? He tried to pull back, but found the bronze hand had a death grip on his snake spear. He couldn't even summon back his martial soul. Ye Ming yanked the snake spear with his left hand, instantly closing the gap. He cocked his right fist back, a sharp wind screaming as he aimed for Snake Spear Douluo's heart. Seriously? You think that's gonna break my defense? That Snake Spear Douluo scoffed. You're dreaming. That he admitted the kid's soul skill packed a punch, enough to dent his soul power defense, but he couldn't believe that some ringless punk could break through with just raw strength. The next moment, his face twisted in horror. He saw four terrifying soul beast phantoms materialize behind the kid. Ye Ming said nothing, just unleashing the full power of his goo. The specters of the Fang Pig, Tyrant Bear, and Flying Elephant roared to life behind him. He threw a punch. Bang! The devastating force slammed into Snake Spear Douluo's chest, caving it in. A sickening crack echoed, his ribs shattering, his eyes bulged, and his right hand went limp, losing its grip on the snake spear martial soul. He plummeted to the ground like a broken-winged hawk, blood spewed from his mouth, his face etched with disbelief. How is this possible? Cough. He coughed up another mouthful of blood in mid-air, flecked with bits of internal organs, before crashing to the ground with bone-jarring force, cracking the palace floor. Snake Spear Douluo's life force plummeted. Even his snake spear martial soul couldn't hold form, just lying there, bleeding out. That punch, infused with the might of four beast phantoms, had just wrecked the Title Douluo. Silence descended over the crowd. Tang San and the others stared, eyes wide with shock. That little monster. Seriously, did you pull this cousin of yours straight out of the Star Do Great Forest? Douluo swallowed hard. He's not just 100,000-year soul beast in disguise, he's a freakin' herd of them. That the sheer brutality of it shocked even the Title Douluo, causing him to curse. Yan Wudi just nodded, numb, his hatred for the Haotian sect churning in his gut. He secretly tried to reassure himself, most of the Haotian sect are gone anyway. My beef with them should be over. Tang San's eyes gleamed brighter, puffing out his chest. My cousin is the leader of our Haotian sect. That he was secretly grateful, brother Ye Ming, thanks for avenging Xiao Wu and me. That the oppressive weight of the two Title Douluo had been shattered by a single punch. The Thunder Moon Storm dissipated, and Ye Ming floated in the air. Poisonous barbs launched by thorny Porpoise Douluo tore into his back, but only shredded a few colorful moon belts. not even piercing his skin. Old Shi. Uncle Shi, Thorny Porpoise and Qinghe roared, rushing towards the fallen Snake Spear Douluo, but someone else was faster. Ye Ming hadn't taken his eyes off Snake Spear Douluo. He channeled his relentless power again, winding up another punch for the broken, defenseless man below. Roar! Lulu! The Tyrant Bear and Flying Elephant Phantoms thundered forward. The Strength Gu Master may be a close combat brawler, but that doesn't mean they can't throw down from a distance. The Beast Power Phantom is a brutal long-range option for the Strength Gu Master. Most Strength Gu Masters can only summon the Beast Power Phantom with a certain chance after perfecting the Beast Power Gu, but Ye Ming has the all-out Gu, channeling his power to the max with every single punch, always unleashing the Beast Power Phantom. That's the power of the rank 5 all-out Gu. Seeing the two monstrous Beast Power Phantoms bearing down, Snake Spear's eyes widen with despair. If he hadn't been wounded escaping from those 200,000-year soul beasts, he wouldn't be in this mess. His face was ashen, blood bubbling from his mouth. Buzz! Suddenly, a wave of golden light washed over the area within 1,000 meters. The Flying Elephant and Tyrant Bear Phantoms froze in place. Ye Ming glanced up to see Qinghe's seventh soul ring shining black, the golden light on her body intensifying. The contrasting lights swirled together, seemingly assimilating the black soul ring, turning it gold as it unfurled. The golden light flared, and a phantom behind Qinghe silently moved forward, merging with her. Her entire body, including her hair, shimmered with pure gold. Gorgeous golden flames engulfed her, turning even the 6 soul rings around her gold as well. Qinghe, who had 2 pairs of white wings to begin with, now sprouted another pair. Unleashing her martial soul true body, the 6-winged angel martial soul stood in its full glory. A strange mask materialized on her face. In a flash of gold, Qinghe's true face emerged. It was cold and beautiful, betraying a young age in her early 20s, with skin as white as snow and phoenix eyes radiating majesty. The golden light pulsed, the angel domain. With the Tyrant Bear and Flying Elephant Phantoms frozen, Thorny Porpoise Douluo arrived, unleashing his venomous barbs and completely shattering the 2 Beast Power Phantoms. Enveloped in the golden light, Snake Spear Douluo seemed to recover slightly, but he was still unable to move. Renxue, masquerading as Qinghe, gazed at the critically injured Snake Spear Douluo, and a flicker of sadness flashed in her eyes. She looked up, locking eyes with Ye Ming, and said softly, "I've never seen such a talented prodigy. You must have twin martial souls. Surrender to me, and I will give you everything you desire. Strength, power, status, beauty, anything you ask for, I will give it to you." That even with the current situation spiraling out of control, she still spoke to Ye Ming without hesitation. As soon as these words left her lips, Bo and the others behind Ye Ming visibly tensed. Tang San had suspected that the person before them was likely the daughter of the former Pope Qian and Bibi Dong, the heir apparent of the Spirit Hall. With her status, such promises were well within her grasp. Even though Tang San knew a little about Ye Ming, he couldn't guarantee that he'd stay true to his principles and reject these temptations. Bo, sensing the danger, urged, "Kid, don't fall for her lies. She's stalling for time. Emperor Shui is about to crumble." That Ye Ming floated in front of Tang San and the others, retracting the Thunder Wing Gu. He locked his gaze on Renxue, silent. The dark golden Haotian hammer materialized in his right hand, the 6th orange gold ring blazing with light. 6th soul skill, fire dragon swallowing the sky. Almost broke my mentality. More than 5,000 collections, more than 1,000 followers, and less than 500 subscriptions. It is worthy of being a person in the magic way. Thank you very much to all the friends who subscribed. I also want to thank every reader who supports this book. Thank you for your support. For those who are still dissatisfied with the freebies, I won't say anything. I will grab it and refine it in an instant. Chapter 78 Chasing Renxue. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Roar. A dragon's roar ripped through the air as 3 hellfire dragons erupted from Ye Ming, hurtling towards Renxue and the others. The golden light of the angel domain faltered and dissolved under the dragon's fiery onslaught. Renxue and Thorny Porpoise Douluo recoiled, a clear threat registering on their faces. Simultaneously, Tang San and the others launched their attack, Soul-Breaking Spear, Blue-Silver Overlord Spear, and Time Solidification, a triple strike of formidable soul skills. Among the barrage of attacks, Douluo's Time Solidification was particularly dangerous. His 8th soul skill could momentarily freeze everything in its vicinity. Ordinarily, combined with his 9th soul skill, it could obliterate a city. But here, in the Tiando Palace, Douluo couldn't risk using such a devastating attack. Seeing Ye Ming's incredible power, Douluo knew controlling Renxue and her companion was key to victory. For deadly moves converged, overwhelming the Angel Domain's protective aura. Renxue and Thorny Douluo, already wounded by Ye Ming's Thunder Moon Storm, frantically channeled their soul power to resist. Then, an invisible wave slammed into them, trapping them in place. Douluo's time freezing had taken hold. Panic flashed in Renxue and poisoned Thorn Douluo's eyes. Breaking free would take at least 2 breaths. Normally, that wouldn't be an issue, but in this fight, those 2 breaths were a death sentence. Get the young master out of here. In a final act of desperation, Snake Spear Douluo, still lying on the ground, spat out a mouthful of blood, roared, and launched himself into the air, intercepting the soul skills. His body ballooned, then, as the fire dragons bore down on him, he detonated. The Title Douluo's life force, accumulated over decades, erupted in a devastating wave, neutralizing the soul skills. The explosion sent shockwaves outward, throwing people hundreds of yards. Palace walls crumbled, roofs were ripped away, everything disintegrating into dust. Old She. The porpoise's eyes turned bloodshot with fury. Snake Spear Douluo was gone, and he was reeling from the blast's impact. The porpoise Douluo quickly assessed their situation, and it was bleak. While his young master's combat ability rivaled that of a Title Douluo, they were essentially fighting with 2 Title Douluo's strength, and the freakish kid on the other side could go toe-to-toe with a Title Douluo. Not to mention Douluo and the others were closing in. They had to run. He grabbed the stunned Renxue, hoisted her onto his shoulder, and bolted into the sky. Uncle She. Renxue stared at the bloody haze in the air, heartbroken. A Title Douluo, gone like that. She fixed her gaze on Ye Ming, etching his image into her memory. 20 years of planning, undone by this young man's fist. Swish. Suddenly, from the ruins of the palace wall, Ye Ming shot into the air, chasing after thorny porpoise Douluo and Renxue. Tang San, seeing this, yelled, "Brother, don't chase them. We have to save Emperor Shui first. I'm cutting this off at the source." Ye Ming yelled back, accelerating, "You guys save Emperor Shui." Having made an enemy of Renxue, he couldn't let her escape. Even as just a soul saint, with her angel martial soul, she could already challenge a Title Douluo. If she got away, and later inherited the angel god armor, or even the angel god position, there would be no end to the trouble. He unleashed a flurry of punches, the beast power phantoms ripping through the air toward Renxue and thorny porpoise Douluo. Worried about Ye Ming, Tang San said to Douluo, "Old monster, go help my cousin. We're going to save Emperor Shui." Ye Ming's speed was comparable to a Title Douluo, and he and Yang Wudi couldn't keep up, so they had to rely on Douluo. Douluo knew he couldn't cure Emperor Shui, and could only rely on Tang San and Yang Wudi. He flew to support Ye Ming. High above, thorny porpoise Douluo carried Renxue. Behind them, Ye Ming activated the Thunder Wing Gu and the Wind Moon Will Gu, and closed the distance at an incredible speed. Bringing up the rear, Douluo was coming fast. "Uncle Thorny Porpoise, it's just that kid and Douluo." Renxue wiggled free of thorny porpoise Douluo, her wings spread, and remained in the air. "That kid is too reckless, we still have a chance." Thorn porpoise Douluo and snake spear Douluo were specially transferred from the spirit hall to restrain Douluo. In a one-on-one situation, Douluo would never win. If she could beat this young man now, she might still salvage this. Golden light flared, and a golden holy sword materialized in Renxue's hand. With wings spread, she dove toward the beast power phantoms like a golden meteor. Her sword flashed, and the beast power phantoms were decimated, falling one by one. Locking eyes with Ye Ming, anger twisted her face. "You are a genius, but your arrogance will be your downfall. You've been using powerful soul skills non-stop. Even with your weird soul ring, I bet you don't have much soul power left. Ye Ming's expression turned strange. After releasing his sixth soul skill, his soul power was nearly full. The Thunder Moon Storm did use a lot of true energy, and he only had 40% of the true energy left in the first orifice. But with the power insect, he had 80% of the true energy in the second orifice. Ye Ming took a few deep breaths, and the lightning wings behind him wavered. He said coldly, "You saw right through me. But so what? I'll kill you before I run out." He charged at Renxue, making her frown. "Since you're so ungrateful, go and join my uncle Shi." Sixth soul skill, Angel's Roar. Seeing this, the seventh black soul ring on the side of the thorny porpoise Douluo suddenly lit up, and he turned directly into a huge thorn ball with a diameter of 10 meters. The thorn ball spun rapidly in the air and turned towards Douluo. For the young master's orders, he only needed to obey. Even though his body was covered in blood, thorny porpoise Douluo did not hesitate at all. Douluo saw the thorn ball coming, and he let out a low shout, and a piercing long whistle came out of his mouth. Emerald green light burst out from his body, and the seventh soul ring on his body shone. His tall and thin body continued to expand in the green light and soared up. The original human body disappeared, replaced by a 30-meter-long green snake as thick as a water tank. The upper body of the snake stood up, the huge body half turned, and the giant snake tail was pulled from the other direction of thorny porpoise Douluo. Thorny porpoise Douluo suddenly shrank, and then shook. Countless spikes popped out from his body and stabbed at the giant snake. The emerald green snake did not dodge, and swung its tail to block all the poisonous spikes with strong toxins. The poisonous mist cast by Douluo was absorbed by the spikes on thorny porpoise Douluo's body, and the two fought hard for a while. Just as the two were fighting, Renxue's exclamation came from another battlefield. Thorny porpoise Douluo turned his head and looked, and his heart sank to the bottom of the valley in an instant. Young Master. Chapter 79. You are blocking my path to success. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sixth soul skill, Angel Roar. Golden light exploded around Renxue, and an invisible wave of mental force slammed into Ye Ming. This attack channeled her angel soul power into a concentrated mental blast for a wide area strike. The impact would cause severe mental trauma. If the target's mental strength was less than half of hers, it would shatter their soul and blow their brains out. If it was close, it would still inflict significant mental damage. Everything comes at a price. Renxue knew the guy was from the Clear Sky School. She'd noticed he relied heavily on physical strength, meaning his spirit power must be weak. Even if his second spirit was just a pair of lightning wings with no rings, those kinds of spirits did nothing to help a person's spirit power. She was a soul saint. Even if he was physically strong, he was still just a six-ring soul emperor, and he couldn't possibly match her mental strength. Suddenly, Ye Ming surged forward, using his flying goo to close the distance. Boom! The shadow of a wild beast flashed behind him as he hammered a fist straight into Renxue's chest. What? You weren't affected? Renxue was stunned. At the last second, she threw up her wings to block her chest as layers of golden light shielded her body. In that moment, driven by instinct, she twisted slightly to the side. That small move made the fist that would have crushed her chest slam into her left shoulder instead. With a sickening crack, blood sprayed everywhere. Ah! Renxue screamed in agony as Ye Ming's punch completely shattered her left shoulder. She crashed to the ground like a broken kite. Cough, cough, cough. She choked, spitting out blood as her spirit power flooded into her ruined shoulder. Struggling to stem the bleeding, her face was deathly pale, her left shoulder was a mess, and she couldn't even maintain her spirit form. Her wings vanished, and she lay crumpled on the ground. Hearing Renxue's scream, the spiny seahorse turned to see the horrifying scene. Young Master! He cried out, flinging a volley of spikes to hold off Douluo's snake form before rushing toward Renxue. Ye Ming raised an eyebrow, surprised. He thought that punch would have been the end of it, but she had managed to avoid the worst of it. He wouldn't waste the opportunity. He raised a hand, and a 10-foot-long, dark blue moon blade arced toward Renxue's neck. Just as it was about to strike, the massive body of the spiny seahorse Douluo threw itself over Qian Renxue, the dark blue blade slammed into his back, tearing a huge gash before burrowing into his body. Blood gushed out, along with chunks of bloody organs. Ah! The spiny seahorse Douluo roared, clamping his back shut and shattering the blue moon blade. He spewed blood, instantly losing control of his spirit form. That sacrifice had saved Qian Renxue's life. Ye Ming snorted, ready to finish the job and eliminate her for good, but two beams of light, one gold and one silver, streaked across the sky, accompanied by two voices bellowing. Spirit Fusion Skill. Tu Yin-Yang Stasis Field. Ye Ming and Douluo were instantly caught in the field, frozen in mid-air. Yuguan screeched, "Old Hedgehog, get the young master out of here, now." That Yuguan and his counterpart were both heavily wounded. There was even a terrible gash across Yuguan's chest, still bleeding. The spiny seahorse Douluo glanced up to see Yuguan and Qinghe Mei combining their powers in a spirit fusion to paralyze Ye Ming and Douluo. Ignoring the gaping wound in his back, he scooped up the limp Qian Renxue, forced what remained of his spirit power to his feet, and blasted into the air. "Young master! Hang in there!" That the spiny seahorse Douluo's eyes were bloodshot as he looked at Qian Renxue's ruined shoulder, tears welling up. "I'm getting you back. They'll fix you up," he muttered, pushing his spirit power to its limit to increase his speed. On his back, the wound nearly split him in half, and blood was pouring out. Ye Ming watched as the spiny seahorse Douluo flew away with Qian Renxue. He tried everything, but spiny seahorse and snake spear were willing to die to save her. That moon blade was the result of upgrading his moon ray goo to level 4, and it was devastating. The spiny seahorse Douluo's insides were shredded. Even if he lived, he was finished. Since he couldn't do anything more, Ye Ming focused his gaze on Yuguan and Qinghe Mei in the distance. They had been leading the Spirit Hall attack on the survivors of the Seven Treasures glazed tile school in the palace, but Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo had shown up and dealt them some serious damage. Ye Ming knew that the pair wouldn't stick around for long. He had also seen Tang San's signal flare. Once Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo had the situation under control, they would rush to the rescue. These two Title Douluos would die today. After using their spirit fusion, the two could no longer use spirit skills to maintain their domain. Yuguan and Qinghe Mei were miserable. They had failed to capture the rabbit last time and been scared off by the beast kings. Instead of being rewarded, Bibi Dong assigned them to Qian Renxue for this mission. They never expected to run into two monsters like Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo. If they hadn't had their spirit fusion skill, they would be dead. Yuguan watched the spiny seahorse Douluo fly away with Qian Renxue, and the idea of retreating took root in his mind. Then Yuguan recognized Ye Ming's face, and a wave of horror washed over him. "That's the kid who came out of Clear Sky School." That he looked at Qinghe Mei, having already made up his mind. They withdrew their palms, and the stasis field vanished. The two fled towards Spirit Hall at top speed. Before leaving, Yuguan shouted, "Tang San, didn't you kill Clear Sky School members and betray the school? Why are you siding with the Heaven Do Empire now?" With that, the pair disappeared into the sky. Ye Ming's heart sank. Douluo was dismissing his spirit and walking over, frowning. "Kid, what did that old flower mean just now?" "Ugh." His green eyes widened as he looked down. A tail, like the one of a tiger, burst through his chest. The tip had a sharp bone spur, dripping blood. Why? Douluo gasped as his life slipped away. "Sorry," Ye Ming sighed. "I didn't want to kill you, old man, but you were in my way." Chapter 80. The degree of acting reaches 60%. You are listening at novelfull.audio. No matter what Yuguan said before leaving, it was bound to make Douluo suspicious, and Douluo would definitely tell Tang San. With the vast sea universe cover in hand and the trip to Sea God Island about to begin, Ye Ming couldn't afford to let Tang San have any doubts. It would derail his plans. His schedule was too tight for any mishaps. He had to succeed. Failure wasn't an option. If he screwed up, Tang San and his crew would turn on him, and Bone and Sword Douluo would be on his back. A total stalemate. So, catching Douluo off guard and alone, he made the call and killed him. Ye Ming whipped out the evil god thorn and stabbed Douluo's thigh and right chest. Swish! The evil god Thorn plunged home in 2 swift strikes, a bead of sweat popped on his forehead as he silently sheathed the evil god Thorn, blood flowed freely, but Ye Ming ignored it, hoisting Douluo's corpse and dragging it, limping toward the emperor's bedroom. Ding, Refining Dao Master Proficiency reaches 60%. Rewarding, 5 Qinghe Immortal Yuan, 1 6-turn Immortal Gu Dingxian Yu Gu, 1 6-turn Immortal Gu Chuanqiu Chan, 1 6-turn Immortal Gu Jinghun Gu, and 1 Refining Dao Grandmaster Enlightenment. Hearing the system chime, Ye Ming was overcome with emotion. The rewards were so good he wanted to claim them instantly. 3 Immortal Gu. Lipi Chan. Dingxian Yu. Jinghun Gu. Refining Dao Grandmaster Enlightenment. He was ecstatic, but just then, the Shunfanger Gu picked up someone approaching rapidly. Ye Ming's face crumpled with grief, his eyes reddened, and he cried out. Old man Douluo, you died a horrible death. Damn Spirit Hall, I'll make you pay. Just then, Gu Rong, a spirit Douluo, arrived and overheard the commotion below. He landed to find Ye Ming, looking miserable, limping along with Douluo's lifeless body. Ye Ming, what's going on? Gu Rong asked, stunned. Ye Ming's expression shifted, then he muttered blankly, it's all my fault, it's all my fault. I killed old man Douluo. His eyes were bloodshot, as if he'd suffered a devastating blow. Gu Rong noticed the bloody wounds on his chest and leg. His heart went out to Ye Ming. He stepped forward, patted Ye Ming gently, and used his spirit power to stanch the bleeding. Damn, Gu Rong sighed softly, at a loss for words. In the distance, Yang Wudi came running with Emperor Shui on his back, followed closely by Tang San. Tang San, with his purple demon eyes, could see clearly from afar. He spotted the bloody Ye Ming and Douluo's limp body. His heart leaped into his throat. He activated the right leg spirit bones skill his mother gave him and took off. In a heartbeat, Tang San covered the distance and stood before Ye Ming. Having seen death firsthand countless times in Slaughter City, he recognized it instantly. One look at Douluo's slumped head was enough. Dude, what happened? Old monster, he's... Tang San staggered, unable to accept it. Third brother, I'm so sorry. Ye Ming stammered, his face as pale as a sheet. It's all my fault. I killed old man Douluo. Ugh. He coughed up a mouthful of blood, collapsing backward onto Douluo's body. Ye Ming, Tang San rushed forward, ready to use his Xian Tian Gong, when Gu Rong spoke up. Tang San, let him rest. He's pushed himself too hard and is badly hurt. Passing out is his body's way of protecting itself. Don't wake him now. Tang San nodded, understanding. His initial panic had been triggered by Douluo's death. The shock had thrown him off balance. Tang San, what are you doing here? What's going on? Gu Rong asked, frowning. Tang San watched Yang Wudi arrive, swiftly stashed Douluo's body in his Rui Baibao pouch, and hoisted Ye Ming onto his back, saying, We're running out of time. Let's get Emperor Shui somewhere safe to heal, and I'll explain on the way. Gu Rong nodded and led Tang San toward the palace to meet Ning Fengji and Sword Douluo. As they went, Tang San explained, the day after I rushed back to the academy, I ran into the old monster. Then we entered the palace and met Renxue disguised as Qinghe, along with 2 Title Douluo, Thorny Porcupine and Snake Spear. Ye Ming's cousin showed up and forced Snake Spear to self-destruct. Renxue and Thorny Porcupine fled. He gave chase, and I asked the old monster to go help him. He sighed. Never imagined it would be the last time I saw him. That doesn't make sense. With my cousin's fighting skills and the old monster's strength, there's no way they could have been defeated by those 2. Gu Rong listened to Tang San's story, pondered for a moment, and said slowly, this is a bit too coincidental. While the sect master and old 7 killers, who had just returned, were setting up the new 7 treasures glazed sect in the palace, Yu Guan and Gue Mei took advantage of the fake prince's schemes to lead 1,500 spirit masters into the palace. Their aim was to massacre our disciples again. We only have 2,000 guards scattered throughout the palace, and another 2,000 are in training with the master at Shrek. But Old Seven and I, along with the sect master's help, are more than a match for Yu Guan and Gui Mei. He sighed, continuing, but Yu Guan and Gui Mei have a wicked spirit fusion skill. It's the only way they could have gotten away. When we were chasing after the troublemaking Spirit Hall Soul Masters, we found Tang Yeming's horrible state. Gu Rong stroked his chin, muttering, if that's what happened, I bet Ye Ming and Douluo ran into Yu Guan and Gui Mei in the middle of the fight and were stabbed by the spikes of the array Douluo. Tang San nodded in agreement. The wounds on the old monster and my cousin's bodies were definitely made by something sharp. I bet it was the array Douluo. He gritted his teeth and snarled, I'll avenge the old monster. Spirit Hall, I'll destroy you with my own hands. Ye Ming, lying on Tang San's back, listened to the conversation, agreeing that it made sense. Gu Rong's explanation aligned perfectly with his version. 15 minutes later, Tang San and the others met up with Ning Fengji and the others. Yang Wudi was able to deal with Emperor Shuiye's poison, so Tang San left him in the palace to detoxify the emperor, carrying Ye Ming. He returned to Shrek Academy under Bon Douluo's escort. As they arrived at Shrek Academy's gate, Tai Tan and the others rushed out, looking anxious. Tang San was surprised. Weren't Tai Tan and the others at the Tang clan? After some explanation, he learned that around 1,500 Spirit Hall Soul Masters, acting on the prince's orders, had planned to join forces with 2,000 Imperial Guards from the Heaven Do Empire to crush Shrek and massacre the students. However, the Heaven Do Empire's Imperial Guards had questioned the orders. Under Yu Xiaogang's guidance, they counterattacked and, with the help of the 4 single attribute clans of the Tang sect, successfully repelled the Soul Masters. After entering Shrek Academy, Ye Ming awoke, looking exhausted, his eyes red. He explained to everyone. Old Man Dugu and I joined forces. We seriously wounded Qian Renxue and Thorny Porcupine Douluo. Just as we were about to finish them off, we were immobilized by Yueguan and ghostly martial spirits fusion skill. Ghost Douluo went all out and killed Old Man Dugu with his spikes. I was hurt in the process. Everyone sighed, listening to Ye Ming's account. It's all my fault. If I hadn't insisted on chasing them, Old Man Dugu would still be alive. Ye Ming's eyes were red, his face filled with grief. Yu Xiaogang was the first to stand and pat Ye Ming's shoulder. It's not your fault, son. You did what you had to do. I just didn't expect Spirit Hall to have such a huge operation. What we need to do now is get stronger, destroy Spirit Hall, and avenge Poison Douluo. Ye Ming's eyes were bloodshot, but a look of resolve returned to his face. He nodded heavily. Thank you, Master. I will avenge Old Man Dugu. He looked at Tang San, apologizing. Third brother, I'm sorry. I'll personally avenge Old Man Dugu. Tang San stepped forward, embraced him, and said firmly, let's do it together. Destroy Spirit Hall and get justice for the old monster. Once Emperor Shuya wakes up and things settle down, we're heading to Sea God Island. Sea God Island? Yu Xiaogang looked grave. It's dangerous, but it also has immense opportunities. Tang San took a deep breath. Teacher, we're running out of time, and the Spirit Hall is just getting started. Only a place like that can help us get stronger, fast. Yu Xiaogang nodded. You made the right decision. I was planning to send you to Sea God Island to train, anyway. Just then, Ma Hongjun chimed in, third brother, Ye Ming, don't leave me out of the fun. Oscar and Ning Rongrong nodded excitedly. Us too. Dai Mubai and Zhu Zhuqing followed Lu Erlong and the others, joking. Tang San, we're the Shrek's 7 devils. Don't think you can sneak off with your cousin right after we meet up. Tang San looked at everyone, touched. He had explained the dangers of Sea God Island, but his friends still supported him. That's the Shrek 7 devils brotherhood. Okay. Tang San nodded firmly. Whatever comes, we'll face it together. Ye Ming smiled, watching the scene, together. Awesome.